Today's episode is going to be over Chapter 6 of the Summa Logicae on concrete and abstract names that are synonyms. Okay, so first Occam starts out with two different definitions of synonym. The first one is that terms are synonymous if the speakers intend them to signify the same thing. And an example of this would be words from different languages which signify the same thing, such as the word aqua and the word water. They both have the same reference, and they're intended to. The second definition of synonym is terms are synonymous if the thing signified is the same regardless of the speaker's intentions. And his example is the difference between God and Godhead. Another example he gives in the text is man and humanity. Now, the second definition is the one we're going to be focused on because he thinks that many abstract terms are actually identical with their concrete counterparts. So here are some examples. Hot and heat, man and humanity, green and greenness. So two terms in this way are synonymous if one doesn't designate an accident of the other, one doesn't designate a part of the other, one doesn't designate a whole that the other belongs to, and they aren't completely different things. So the easiest way to understand this is that one cannot mean a part of what the other thing is. So like I have like the book, Occam's Theory of Terms, and then there's page 66. I can't say that 66 is synonymous with the book because just the page 66 is a part of the book. So that's what qualifications number 1 and 2 are about. They can't be identical if one is just a part of the other thing. Now, number 3 would be more like the book can't be identical to page 66 because the book contains 66 in it. So that's a whole to part instead of part to whole. But it's essentially the same issue. And then the last qualification is they cannot be completely different things because, a tree and a dog are not part or whole, or aren't related as parts or wholes. They're not related in any way, really, except maybe by, like, being close to each other. But that isn't enough to generate synonymity. They have to be actually, like, part of the same being to generate this synonymity that he's talking about. So the example he gives is humanity versus man. These words aren't accidental to each other. They don't designate parts of each other. Neither designates a whole, while the other designates a part. And they both signify men. So they must be identical. There isn't any difference. They must be synonymous, that is. There isn't any difference in signification, according to Occam, between the words humanity and the words man. Now, he goes over different groups of philosophers who think different categories are identical, who think that quantity, substance, and quality are the same, or figure and quantity, or relation and absolute entities. That's the difference between, like, my relation to someone and then the two people that make up the relation. And then I just chose a few of the absurd sentences he generates out of these beliefs from the end of the chapter, such as a man is humanity, animality is white, quantity runs, figure is white, similarity is duplicity. And then finally, we have closing notes. So Occam promises to provide us with an account of the root truths here without generating all of these strange propositions like figure is white and similarity is duplicity. And then there's also a promise of a discussion of privations in the future. Really quickly, a privation is a lack of something where something else should be. So if you think of a human, humans should have eyes, but if you poked out an eye, then the human wouldn't. So that would be a lack or a privation of an eye. Anyway, that's going to be all for this episode.